Welcome back to Life on the 50. I'm your host, Nick Kleitch, and with me, as always, as we conclude our first season of Life on the 50, is a man who could not have executed at a higher level this Christmas season, Mr. Cole Szynski. Cole, how are we on this fine Tuesday evening?
I'm good. We're past Christmas. We're in that stretch that everybody talks about where it's like I don't know what day it is. I legit something happens from December 26th to December 30th where it's like I really don't know what like the days all morph together. I'm still living day to day. I'm still doing very normal things that I do on a day-to-day basis, but it's just like, "Oh shit, what day is it?" Because it's just like I'm in a haze of like Christmas goodies, sort of being sick, drinking alcohol, like all like this swarm of gifting and receiving presents that it's just like I lose all track of time and sense of what day and date it is.
That is totally understandable, my friend, and I feel the same way. We went through Christmas, and I remember getting to Sunday, and I remember talking to my beautiful wife and just going, "What just happened?" Like, it was just like this whole
Yeah.
other, like, life that I lived, that was very abnormal. Obviously, a lot of alcohol, a lot of cookies and sugar and foods I would never eat, which make me kinda feel like shit, but that's what it's all about, you know? That's what
Well,
it's
that's
all
what it's
about.
all that's why you like that's why we're working out all year long. That's why we're keeping the diet as tight as we possibly can all year long because like this stretch like, the belt loop gets one spot looser, right? Like we can't we like it's hard to fasten the pants and tighten those things. So, yes, it is certainly just jolly fat season. I myself, though, I'm already back in the gym. Like we're already back in it. We're going.
Good,
We're
buddy.
it was very minimal time of cakes and cookies and goodies and candies and all that bullshit to be put in my body because I just know I feel like a bag of milk when we come out of it.
I at least have the audacity to commit when I know that I'm gonna do it. I'm fully aware and expecting to gain 10 pounds, and I only gained 7 this year, and that wasn't through any type of strategy. That's just how it all worked out. I do work out throughout the holiday season. I always work out just because I love to do it, but that doesn't mean like I was busting cardio workouts or anything like that. So yeah, it will be a grind the first 3 weeks coming out of this, but you got to let the mind and the body relax a little bit. And we definitely did that. But to really kind of hit the bullseye right off the bat here, man, I just have to say thank you for being my co host for this first season of Life on the 50. We didn't know what was going to happen on this, right? We didn't have any idea. We had podcasted together in the past, so we had some kind of inkling of our synchronicities and what we wanted to do. But just to think to get here, like that's where I really want to start off with a lot of gratitude for you making the show possible. Because as much as I, want to get in here and take credit for things, I'm only doing half of it as the co-host. So thank you, my brother, for doing this and having a lot of fun. So my first like piece of the podcast here that I want to ask, and we'll get to football, of course. What do you think is your fondest memory, or maybe top two or three memories from this first season of kind of getting a feel for this podcast, understanding what we're talking about, happenings in college football? I want to kind of open the floodgates on you a little bit and jog a memory or two.
Yeah. Uh so first memory that I go to is like I can vividly go back and remember how I felt uh week 1. And
Mhm.
obviously for me college football season started well, for everyone it starts week 0, right? But that was unique for me this year in the fact that like I was over in Dublin, Ireland for the Iowa State K-State game. Um and so the hype and the excitement came 1 week earlier than normal when my team starts playing in week 1 with everybody else. Um but like the feeling of waking up that first week, we know that Texas and Ohio State is right at our fingertips. We can taste it, and everything is yet to play out in the college football landscape. It's like that meme, or maybe even just like it's from like that scene from the Lion King where Simba and his dad, they're like looking out over the safari, and it's
Mm.
like that, like he's like, this will be yours someday. And Simba looks up at him and he's like, what's that? And he's like, as far as you can see. And it's just like, that's like, that was me week one of the college football season. It was like, it's all out in front of us as far as the eye can see. Oh, it was such a great feeling. Um, the second one that I go back to, I have to do it, is like winning the Cyhawk series yet again. Uh, what an incredible feeling of like competitive juice, and like it's really like, it really is the first game for me that like I feel the knot in my stomach of like, fuck, I don't want to lose this game. Like going to Ireland and playing Kansas State was great, and there was a lot of like pageantry behind that, and obviously conference game, so there's like a lot at stake right away. But you're just, that's more of like, you're unsure of like, okay, what are we, who are we, what is this team? Like I know a little bit, but I don't know, like it's still, it could very easily be one thing or another, and there's a whole lot in between. uh the Iowa State game, I don't know about you, but for me, every single year is like the first game where it's like, I'm watching, like I start getting heart palpitations, like I feel the knot in my stomach, the breathing gets a little bit heavier, like I'm up on my feet, like with every play, like we're clapping, we're loud, we're screaming. And it's just like it's such a like indoctrination into the college football season. It's like, that's when I know, like, okay, I'm here now. Like I'm here. Like for me, it's like you've probably played South Dakota or North Dakota or South Dakota State at that point already, and it's like, okay, we have this game. This is our test before we get into conference play, and like, here we go. Let's do this. Um, so those two for sure, and then, gosh, I mean, I would say like it really, every year I do this thing, Nick, where I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy every fucking second. And I do. Like I do. Every Saturday for me during college football season is an event. It's like Friday night, like I'm going to the grocery store, we're getting the food that I'm gonna wake up and make, plus some snacks, plus some beers. And it's like I have it, like I have myself set by Friday night so that it is go to bed, wake up, start the coffee, get the crock pot going if it's not already,
Mm.
and like we start our day with college game day. You flip that on, or big noon kickoff, whatever it's called, and then like we roll right into that first window and we're off. Like the gate, like the floodgates open. Every year I'm like, fuck, I want this to slow down. I want to enjoy it. And I do. And every single year, just like we get to the last weekend of the regular season, it's like, holy shit, that flew by. Like I told myself we were gonna slow it down, we were gonna enjoy every second, and it's like, wait, I did that, and it still fucking went by. Like it's like I have the remote in click, and it's like we just, like I enjoyed everything, but we just fast forwarded, and it was like, boom, all right, it's the week after Thanksgiving. Games, like we're down to the wire. There's only a couple games that truly have some meaning. But yet it's like, wow, we really just did that. We really did it. Like here we
Right.
are, another season in the books. Um, so just from like, for me personally, it's like those three moments are like the biggest moments. Um, Obviously, I could look back and like find my favorite games that I watched all year, but as far as moments, yeah, those were tops.
And I will say this year, and granted, the media has become such an influential marker of college football now that
Mm,
there was no more hype than entering a college football season than this year. Like the fact that you had the number one, number two teams at the time, I believe, squaring off right away. like that will never be emulated. Maybe it will in the future, but like that's just like an incredible thing. And then specifically for Iowa State fans, like to have that as your opening weekend, you're probably not going to experience that for a long time. Having
Yeah.
such a matchup and such um, beautiful ways to begin the season, and to so like watching the game of Texas Ohio State was one thing, but also just to have your team win overseas, like that's just you can't start off any better than that. Um, and then like obviously, like I feel like through the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season, there's so much anticipation to get into football that you just glaze through those weeks. Like there's so much euphoria that comes with that in college game day, and you're following along and all of that good stuff. So I would say with you, just the sense of anticipation this year was bar none the best that I've ever had. Um, and then for me, another great memory, and this hit probably week 4 or 5 for me, was just the ability to get in here on this podcast to recap everything. Like, I just loved the week over week rhythm of being able to report to you, talk about all the football stuff, talk about the Heisman, all that. Like, that to me and that consistent schedule was just like, oh man, this is so fun. Now, you and me do differ in this, where I really like how the college football season concludes. I love this time of year because I want to see the best on the best, and some of the matchups we're going to get to are absolutely that. And so, as it can be depressing that it comes to its conclusion, I love that about a good story, right? The good story generally always ends with a slaying of the dragon, or so to speak. And so now that we're in this part of the year, and this being the final episode, like I love to just do that metaphorical cheers to you, like the accomplishment of what was, and the fact that we were able to do this and not just talk about it, I think is like one of my favorites. So I wanted to start there. My second thing I wanted to throw out there. So we had a lot of talks of Heisman candidates, teams that we predicted, all this. What's your biggest, maybe not biggest, but as you are understanding the question, like what's just a takeaway this year that you were either surprised about, that you were impressed with, that you were disappointed in? I'm again throwing you a lot of different ways to go here, but what's something that like you're just thinking like 2025 season, I'm just going to take this away. And I'll answer obviously, but I want you to go first. Like, what were some top takeaways from this year for college football?
2025 for me has far and away been the year of coaching
Mm,
because I personally don't think, listen, there's great players all over the sport right now. But I personally don't think that we have in college football right now like bona fide blue chip elite, like insanely talented, insanely gifted, extreme insanely productive like players as we've had in years past.
okay.
um there have been some fun players, some really fun stories. But to me this year, like it's been all about coaching. It's been, can Ryan Day, coming off of a national championship, get back to that and get to the eventual slaying of the dragon, like you just said, that has been Michigan, right? In which he's lost the battle many times before. Um, it's been the slow start by Arch Manning, and quite honestly, my belief is that Steve Sarkisian did him no favors in that slow start, and trying to get him going. Uh, Obviously, we fast forward, and this sort of doubles as, I mean, I could give you two of my most favorite games of the year by saying this, but like the Texas A&M Notre Dame game, Mike Elko versus Marcus Freeman, like in South Bend, Indiana, coming down to the very final possession, with a 1 point win, last play of the game, insane, like great coaching overall. Indiana, Oregon,
Oh,
which we're
such
gonna
a
get
good game.
again, um, is like, that game early on in the season. I think it was like week 7. Um, just two. dynamos coaching against each other, right? Like
Yes.
loaded teams. You know they're both going to come into it like prepared, ready to go the right way. Um, and then obviously we get to the back half of the season and it's like, okay, James Franklin's already gone. Like we've had like great coaches that have left schools and swapped schools and um, you know, controversies, whether it's one guy seemingly having back channel talks with one school while he's still coaching another school to a college football playoff berth, or a coach that's apparently allegedly been having an affair with his executive assistant for years, and people knew about this and either A tried to cover it up, or B didn't care, or C were just like thought it was cool and fun and funny. And then it's like, to the personal level, like I lose my guy,
Right.
and it's like we have this massive changing of the guard, this culture earthquake, which completely shatters the foundation of like the team that I cheer for. So um for me, like it really has just been like the year of coaching, and I do believe like coaching really matters in football. Like some people will say like, they're not out there, they're calling the plays, not executing them. Like I believe more than any sport that coaching matters in football. Um and that to me is just like that's who the stars of this year were. Like, yes, we had a great Heisman winner in Fernando Mendoza. There are great players across the country, like Caleb Downs at Ohio State, or David Bailey at Texas Tech, rushing the passer. Malachi Tony as a playmaker on the edges for Miami. But like the coaches to me were the stars, and they made it like we call this sport all the time like the greatest reality TV show ever created, ever imaginable. And to me, this year, the coaches were at the forefront of that. Whether you like it or not, whether
Mm.
like that's totally up for debate. Whether people like that, they don't like that, they agree with it, they don't agree with it. Like there's cases to be made for each, but uh you have to acknowledge that this year coaches have stepped to the forefront to front and center, and they were the proverbial Kardashian group of this college football season.
Dude, you couldn't have said it better. My number one takeaway this year, and I hate that this is my takeaway because I want to cheer for football, but my number one takeaway is drama. There's just so much drama this year, and it's just like I feel like obviously the eyes are on the sport more than they ever have been, but the overall amount of drama in college football this year was just insane. And I hope it doesn't keep that level of drama because that's annoying to me as just like a really diehard football fan. I want to see good football. I want the drama to be the performance, man. Like I want that to be what draws me in. But there was so much drama this year that it almost kind of I didn't even know what I was watching half of the time. And it was all coaching related too. I mean, it wasn't too much player oriented. Um, and then my second takeaway, and this is just like what really hit me before like preparing for this was we have hit a new era of college football. And that era is win and win now for money. There is no loyalty, there is no investing in players. There is none of the old era of college football in 2025 was put to the grave. There is a new era we now enter moving forward where it's just going to be such a focus on what can we do right now, and I think that is going to hurt the sport overall. Now granted, it's great for programs like Indiana, phenomenal, Texas Tech, phenomenal. um, but I saw something today, like 16 players from James Madison, all portal. Like, and they earned it, like fair enough. But like so every year, because of NIL, because of the new structure, there is no more building. It is buying. And that I think is going to be an interesting path that we walk down in the coming future. So between drama and entering a new era of college football, I'm going to always be here for it, but I'm just slightly disappointed in the sport for that amount of drama and for that how that's been pushed, and that has been solely pushed because of the media. It's been solely pushed because of production football. That doesn't negate the fact that we're going to witness some incredible games, right? I mean, you absolutely crushed it. Oregon, Indiana, incredible. Georgia, Alabama, always incredible. I'm sure I'm missing some here, but you know, so yeah, that was just kind of my biggest overall takeaway is like teams are they're going to try right now to win. And what will be interesting though is everything's on a pendulum, right, Cole? So
Yep.
right now the pendulum has swung so far where it's win and win now. I do wonder if it does come back to coaching stability and long-term approach as we enter in this new thing. Love to see what Kirk Cignetti does at Indiana. I'm going to love to see how these coaching hires play out. But so many good takeaways from this year. Now, one more question as we're already kind of rocking and rolling in the podcast. What was just a major disappointment for you? Like either a coaching change. Well, I shouldn't use that as my first example, but um, whether it's team, whether it's player, whether it's Heisman, whether it's coaching change, like what was the biggest just disappointment to you? And I should caveat for you personally and just say let's just acknowledge that your coach did leave, but from an outside looking in, like going to a great spot, he's going to do great things there. We hope and pray. But yeah, what was just your biggest disappointment out of this year?
Well, to me, there's a few major like disappointments that I feel like I should throw out. Obviously, Matt Campbell leaving Iowa State, 1A,
Sure.
top of the list, like above all else, because that hits home for me. Yes, you're right. Let's throw that one out. Let's also throw out uh let's throw out, Penn State. Let's because they're ranked like second in the country to start the year and like they end up firing their coach. That's an obvious disappointment on a national scale. Let's throw out um,
Which that is an interesting story, real quick. Just that for most of the top five that came in, I can't quite remember what the preseason ranking were, but
mhm.
specifically for Texas and Penn State, utter failures for season wise. Like
Yeah.
you beat A&M at home, and we figured out A&M was smoke and mirrors. Like the hardest teams on their schedule, they lost to. So we figured that out very quickly. And Penn State, just a complete dumpster fire. Like that was just hilarious. I love watching Penn State suffer, so I'm not upset about that. But anyway, getting back to you.
Um, and then for me, like the disappointment of bowl season, which is still currently underway, like that's a whole thing. Um, but I'll stick with this and because it's a little bit more of a take, and we we have some clarity on the whole thing now. My biggest disappointment is the lack of growth in Arch Manning over the year.
What
Lest
did
we
you take?
forget, like this guy was the preseason, the week one favorite to win the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
Texas was looked at as the number one team in the country, right? Like, yes, they took it upon themselves to schedule number three Ohio State first game, like week one. Obviously, knowing that Ohio State comes off a national championship, they have one of, if not the best defense in football, college football. Um, but the lack of growth, the lack of production getting into the rest of the season, like it was a no brainer that, hey, like obviously the whole world is hoping that Arch Manning takes college football by the balls and says, like, this is my sport. This is my game now for the next couple years, or, has a crazy year and enters the NFL draft as the unquestioned number one pick and Heisman Trophy winner and national champion and like all these things, right? Like, that would have been the craziest storyline ever. And that's where I would be like, we've got a guy. Like we have a guy.
Right.
Um, the disappointment is that he wasn't this year, and it's not to say that he never could be. He
Right.
still certainly could be. the guy, the best player in college football next year, the number one pick in a future NFL draft, like the Heisman Trophy winner in the next couple years. Um, Obviously, I don't want to see him lead Texas to a national championship, but certainly on the table wherever he is, whether it's Texas or a different school. So to me, that's my biggest disappointment is we obviously saw a slow start where Texas was only able to score 7 points in the first game of the year against the reigning national champion who brought back some of the best players in the country all on one defense. But getting into the year, the loss at Georgia was really, really tough to watch because it's like they just couldn't get it going. And
Right.
Georgia, like the entire game, was head and shoulders better than them. And specifically to Arch Manning, like they made him, like they made they made it really, really tough on him at times, and it was like it was disheartening to see because it's like, dude, you're playing in the SEC, like this is your life. How how is it not progressed from week one to now? Not to say that he didn't get better. It's the like he didn't get better to the extent that I would have liked, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Uh I would have loved to like come out of this year being like, you know what? Arch Manning had a slow start, was probably wrong of everybody, myself, anybody that does a national show, Vegas even. It was probably wrong of all of us to think that he was the Heisman Trophy favorite coming in after never having been the starting quarterback, especially for Texas, um, the number one team in the country. But I think you really would have liked to see some signs late in the year that said, "Oh no, there's another gear to this kid," um, and he had some good performances, but like I didn't see like I never saw a flash moment from Arch Manning that I'm like, oh wow, like he rips it, or oh man, like he's gonna be a problem if he continues to do these couple things. Um, it that was that's a huge disappointment for me because I throughout the duration of this season on our podcast, Nick, like I've been buying stock in Arch Manning.
Yes, you have. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great take because not only did it was just we were sold something that we didn't even come close to getting the value on.
Yeah.
Granted, as a young man, I give him a touch of grace just because there is always growth that takes place, and you have to look around all of football to understand that a young man coming into a new program and all that stuff, it's just a lot of weight to bear. But I don't buy into that too much because you know exactly what you're walking into. Steve Sarkisian knows what you're walking into. Texas, you know exactly what the schedule is that you're walking into. So I don't. I don't disagree with the comments that you had. I had two different disappointments this year. First off, team wise, Clemson, the Clemson Tigers, they are done. They are done for. Saw a lot of pieces on how this was the team, this was the year that they had brought all these people back. Dabo was still doing the old school way. Like I thought they were at least going to finish in the top 15. I thought Cade Klubnik was going to be decent. And they just completely shit the bed. I don't know what they're going to do in the future. I don't know if he stays there or not. Granted, he's had an ultra amount of success, but that was a team I just completely was so disappointed in. And then my second disappointment this year is what I'm going to call the crybaby effect. I have never seen so many Division One athletes and coaches be so crybaby about the fact that they should be in, or they should be this, or they should be that. That is a sense of entitlement that I fucking despise. And the fact that we have these grown men who are just on camera on the media, these leaders of men that are acting like crybabies because they didn't get the outcome they were looking for, yet they didn't control what they could have controlled on the football field. And
Mm-hmm.
so I hope that changes next year. I hope whatever changes are made from a holistic season standpoint gets figured out because we're kind of in a weird limbo with, do we just schedule a cupcake schedule to get in? Are we bitching and complaining about high quality wins and high quality losses? Like there's just so much crying and entitlement. And it just makes me sick because, me and you watched the core of Alabama. We watched Tim Tebow. We watched Cam Newton. We watched a lot of these guys coming through where they were just fucking playing for the love of the game. And I just feel we've lost that in today's sport, which is a little bit unfortunate. So that was my biggest disappointment, is seeing all these grown men whining and complaining about seating and about all this stuff, yet they couldn't handle their business on the field. I think is just a lot of immaturity across the sport. Now, before we kind of switch gears into the actual, I'd say midpoint of the podcast to, doing some recap, doing some predictions, all that
Mhm.
fun stuff. What was your best takeaway in terms of either a Cinderella story, something you really liked, like just like you were proud of, you were grateful for? Like, what was some real, like, what were positives that you take away from this season to end on a somewhat more positive note than a negative note?
Yeah. Texas A&M was so much fun to watch this year.
Oof, so
Texas
good.
A&M was they were so much fun to watch. Like every time I turned on the TV with Texas A&M, I just had fun watching them. Um, and so I think that's where I have to start. Uh, it's sort of like a weird moment, but I had this moment of clarity um, after going into like the final week of the regular season where it was like I better really tune into this, specifically the Iowa State game, because something in my gut's telling me this could be it for Matt Campbell. Like he could be out of here.
Mhm.
And I'm so glad I took the time to sit down and watch Iowa State play Oklahoma State. Um, because like in any other year, it'd be like I have it on. Obviously, I'm keeping tabs on it because they're my team, but they don't have anything to play for. But I had that game front and center because it was like, let's get one more really good look at this thing because it could look a lot different. Like I don't know why I had the moment of clarity, but obviously it came to fruition. Uh and so like that I'm more so just grateful for that I gave it my full attention because it deserved that. Um and then I mean going back to um kind of what you said but was also like my theme for the season. I like the fact that coaches are stepping to the forefront as the uh more so reality TV stars of college football, like the main characters of what this soap opera is year in and year out. Uh I like it because quite frankly, those are the guys that are left year over year.
That's
And
true.
obviously coaching changes happen. Obviously coaches leave for different jobs that people agree with, they don't agree with, they think are good moves, they think are bad moves. Um, but when a coach and a school come together and it is a true like perfect fit, a perfect marriage of university and expectations and the right coach that comes in with the right program and the right players and the right message and like it all meshes, like that's what you have as a college football fan year to year. The players that like kind of like you said, Nick, which I don't even think it's a bad thing. Like I'm in favor of it, but you have to cheer for your program. You have to cheer for your coach because the players come and go. I experienced it this last week with Brock Purdy. I spent 4 years pouring myself just into Brock Purdy's the guy and he's the man. Um, our listeners probably don't know this. I don't even know if I told you this, but this last Sunday, we're recording on December 30th, right? Uh,
Hmm.
this past Sunday night, the Bears played the 49ers in San Francisco. I went to that game in person, first time ever being in that stadium. Um, and obviously, first time getting to see Brock Purdy live since being at Iowa State. Uh, it was such like a weird feeling to cheer against him because quite honestly, I couldn't do it. Like anytime he completed a pass, ran for a touchdown, I was like a small part of me inside was like, yes, nice. Brock, like go Brock. Uh but it's just like that's the fleetingness of college football. Is like Rocco Becht is going to go play at another school next year, and then he's going to get drafted, and it's probably not going to be to my NFL team. And so there's going to come a time where I'm rooting against him if he gets to play at all. Um, and it's just like that happens with every single player that we watch in college football. Is like if you're a Michigan fan, you probably love watching Bryce Underwood. But the fact
Right.
of the matter is that like Bryce Underwood, whether he stays at Michigan or not, is gonna play for somebody else in 3 years. And it may be the team you hate the most. It may be your team. And like in those rare instances, that's great. Like that's a perfect scenario. Um, But what's left in college football are these great coaches. It's the Dan Lannings, it's the Kurt Signettis, it's the Matt Campbells, it's the Kirk Ferences, it is the Dabo Sweeneys, it is the Kirby Smarts, it is the Nick Sabans of years past, and it's like the Kenny Dillinghams, the Kyle Whittinghams, the Kalani Sitakis, like that's what you have to cheer for as a college football fan. It's not I'm going to cheer for Bryce Underwood because Bryce Underwood could just as easily take your team's money and book it to another school. And there's thousands of examples of that and you're only setting yourself up for heartbreak and to be pissed off and mad and sad at the game of football if you're cheering for players that play for your team.
Yeah. Phenomenal. 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 To quickly add my portion in here. So things that I'm grateful for next year and from this season. First off, I have to say the Indiana Hoosiers for a couple of reasons. First, a team that rose from the literal ashes, right? Like I've never seen a team rise from the literal ashes to not only being like having a great year last year, but the fact that their coach has the biggest dick in college football and then backs it up, I think is the most gangster ass shit. And that is what we needed so badly this year because they so easily could have laid an egg against Oregon, against Ohio State, and they may lay an egg against Alabama. I pray that they don't. But just the fact that they are this new blood in the sport and this new program that I think will be around to stay. I mean, that would be my hope anyway. So I'm really, really like, that's just a cool story. Let's pray that they cap it off by at least beating Alabama, fuck the SEC, and then whatever happens after that, I'm fine. So that was number one. Number two, the Big Ten collectively next year is going to be crazy. Not only do we have the teams that we already know are in the Big Ten that are great, but we incorporate a handful of really good coaches to make it even more of a competitive league. And I wish them all the best. I hate Penn State, love Matt Campbell, wish him individual success. Kyle Whittingham, you are a ballsy ass motherfucker, dude. I don't know why you're inclined to go to an absolute dumpster fire, but there couldn't be a more stable guy for them to pick up. A guy that they know is going to actually just fucking calm things down. I hope he goes in there with a fucking like a couple hatchets, a couple chainsaws, and just burns that bitch to the ground and then rebuilds in his own light because there is not a place on. I'm just surprised that he went there, but he's a great long term guy. He's going to be tough. And you just think about all these, all these schools, these coaches and everything. So like that is going to set the stage for me in 2026, just this Big Ten conference that is so ridiculously large and basically the entire United States outside of the southeast corner of the US is just like
Mm-hmm.
this Big Ten conference. Um, and then I also have to say the Vanderbilt Commodores. And I say that because I think for the most part, Diego Pavier, like that was a cool story to follow. Didn't really like how it concluded with a little bit of arrogance there about him thinking he should have won the Heisman and blah, 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 blah. But their head coach is a gangster. I think he's there to stay. He proved that he could have easily went somewhere else. So I
Mm-hmm.
wish him the best in the future. They're a team that I'm excited for in the future to sustain success. So those are kind of my major takeaways and or kind of things I'm excited for. I will say for my own team though, that's going to make things only harder because we have lost to Matt Campbell in back-to-back years, and I'm assuming Michigan is going to be on the rise now that they actually have a guy that can come in and put the fires out and rebuild a little bit. So Go ahead if you had more to
It
add to
is
that.
it is really interesting that the Big Ten has as many of these like the Big Ten has so many great coaches now.
Oh
I
man,
mean, you look at it, it's like Ryan Day at Ohio State, Lincoln Riley at USC, Dan Lanning at Oregon, Kurt Signetti at Indiana, Matt Campbell at Penn State, Brett Bielema at Illinois. He's a great football coach. Uh,
great football
I
coach.
mean, Jed Fish at Washington is a really good football coach. Um, shoot, I mean, you look at Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, great football coach. Um, Matt Rule at Nebraska. I know that's split, and that can be people have their opinions. Personally, I think he's a good football coach. Uh,
Cole, that's
yeah, dude.
almost 10. That's almost 10 coaches that have.
Did I even mention Kyle Whittingham with Michigan?
No,
Like
you
that's
didn't. So
10.
that right there, that's 10 coaches with such a depth and breadth of experience. Like, that's insane.
The crazier part is only two of those coaches amongst all the other coaches, right? Like in the Big Ten, only two of those can make the Big Ten championship game. And
I
really,
know.
and realistically, only four of them can make it to the college football playoff. So, like, I mean, we talk about pendulums, right, in college football, and how, like, as a whole, we've swung from one side being that the players have no power. They have to sit out when they transfer if they want to go to a different school for playing time or other reasons. It's swung all the way to the players have all the power because the NCAA doesn't want to get sued, and like we've now opened the Pandora's box of paying the players again, which I'm in favor of. And like this whole college football playoff thing, that it's like this isn't the Big Ten playoff where like those coaches are going to get in. Those are all great coaches coming from really doing a fantastic job either in past years or wherever they've been at the schools before. And it's like, hey, by the way, only really like four of you are going to have true success, at least how it's measured in today's day and age of college football in the 2026 season. Um, Good luck with that, because for the rest of you, you're just going to be shit on and hated and called a bust as a head coach or a head coach hire next year. So hope you're ready. Hope you enjoy all the money that we're paying you. It's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Get the popcorn, man. And I'd almost argue, depending on how the outcome of this playoff takes place, I almost think that the pendulum will swing away from the SEC and into the Big Ten just due to the nature of all of this going on. I know it's a bold claim, but you can't tell me out of 10 coaches, legendary coaches at their respective programs and individuals, that we're going to falter to these teams in the SEC. So, like, that's something I'm truly excited for. Now, one more thing, and then we'll get to just a final touch by me here. So, as far as the bowl games are concerned, we talked a little bit off air about this, but I was saying earlier, Cole, that this old era is completely dead. It got killed and buried this year. And I mean, have you even watched a bowl game? Like it is pretty rough out there right now when it comes to just viewership. I watched a handful of them, but mainly Georgia Tech, BYU to kind of kick it off. Obviously, I'll watch Iowa Vanderbilt tomorrow. Very excited for that. But I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even see that the stands were even a quarter or half the way full. And so I'm just like, it are we done? Are we done with the bowl games?
Well, like we said last time, until these games have meaning, like the bowl games are totally irrelevant. I really like what you said about the bowl games are intended to be like one last hurrah, one last cheers to that individual school season. Like it used to truly mean something and be a beacon of hope and a reason to celebrate if you became bowl eligible, right? Like that was a big deal for a lot of schools because you already know the blue chip programs and the blue bloods and the SEC schools, the Big Tens, like the great programs of college football. They're competing for the national title. There's that small group, and then there's everybody else that it's like, let's just be bowl eligible. Let's be competing for our conference championship at the end of the year. Like that's the goal. Um, in today's day and age, like it doesn't matter at all because you get to those games, and by that time, the head coach of all those teams have a lot of them have already taken new jobs.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and a lot of the players are sitting out for either the NFL draft or they're sitting out because they're entering the transfer portal and looking for a new place to play. And obviously they don't want to hurt their stock or lose, money that is going to end up in their pocket by not playing. Um, so these games become a blowouts because you're getting backup players at all positions, whether it's the quarterback or the kicker, um, and anywhere in between. Not to mention these teams, a lot of them have had, close to a month off from any sort of game action at this point.
Right.
Um, and so it takes a full quarter or even a full half to knock the rust off. And if one team comes out ready to go and the other team is trying to knock the rust off, you end up with a game like the Myrtle Beach Bowl where Western Michigan wins 41-6 against Kennesaw State. Um, there's a fix, and obviously, if people want to hear what I think the fix should be, they can go listen to the last podcast. We don't have to like re-go through that, but yeah, it's been a tough watch bowl season, and even I mean, like we mentioned off air, like you kind of alluded to, the back half of the college football playoff games in that first round were pretty tough to watch. Like James Madison, you clearly weren't it. Tulane, you clearly didn't deserve to be there. Like I said it, we said it on the last episode, but I'll say it on this one too, and not try to go down a whole rabbit hole. But this was the perfect year for a play-in game. Like, have one of those G6 teams get the automatic bid. Have one of the other G6 teams get the at-large bid into a playoff game or a play-in game with Notre Dame, and let them duke it out because certainly Notre Dame would have won that game, and certainly we would have had a better game probably at the 11-6 game, which would have been Ole Miss Notre Dame. So yeah, there's a lot to be fixed. There's a lot of disinterest on my part into this bowl season. To the point that I haven't watched a ton of bowls. Like I I was going through the airport when the Georgia Tech BYU game was going on, so I caught glimpses of that. I did flip on the bowl game that's played here at Chase Field just because I'm like, it's funny for me to be like, well, that's where I work, and there was like no one there. It was Minnesota and New Mexico, and it was like the game actually ended up being a really good game between those two, which is sad to say that New Mexico like made it a game with Minnesota, but like that's just kind of like there's no like we've done the bowl games at Fenway Park and Yankee Stadium so many times before. It's like okay, this needs to mean something, and it really doesn't right now. And until that changes, you're just gonna have the same disinterest uh, that Nick you're seeing and that you're talking about, and that viewership is obviously going to be down, and the games, the ticket sales, like all of that, it's going to be sparsely attended because it's really just families of the players and the team that are going to these bowl games and on these trips. Like it's not your everyday fan traveling to the Xbox Bowl to watch Arkansas State, Missouri State. Nobody cares at this point about those two teams.
Right.
So that's just that's more so where I leave it with bowl season as a whole.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear from you, buddy. I wanted to hear your honest thoughts on what's going on. Just to comment on that real quick. So I think the first major issue came in it came from a place of wanting to give these schools an opportunity to boost themselves up, which I do generally appreciate. However, I think this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago where there were teams getting into bowl games that had losing records. There were teams getting into bowl games that it just seemed like how are they in a bowl game? And so, for example, like I think this year, I look at some of these bowls, right? So, like you were saying, um, New Mexico, Minnesota, FIU, UTSA, Central Michigan, Northwestern, East Carolina, Pittsburgh. You know, like UConn Army, like some of these games, like yes, some of those teams are from smaller conferences and it would be great for them to play in a bowl, but we devalued what it even was to get into a bowl game. And that was the first major issue that I see that had kind of transpired into where we are today. It's like you want to increase viewership for bowls and meaning for bowls. That naturally means you can't just throw every fucking team that plays football in a bowl game. Like if
Mhm.
you're 5-7 or whatever your record is, like why are you in a bowl game? Like that to me is insane. It used to be that you had to at least have 8 wins, maybe 9 wins to even contest and get in. And now it's like these teams are just playing, and I'm flabbergasted. And truthfully, this is another reason why I was so disappointed in Clemson. Somehow, after all that was Penn State's disappointing season, they're playing in a bowl game and they beat Clemson. It's like, Clemson, how embarrassing is that? They literally lost their coach midstream. They maybe had 6 wins, and you lose to that team. So I think bowl season is done. I think if it stays in the same structure, I think viewership continues to go down. And until you create a level of a standard, I think that this is just, it's not what it used to be. And again, it's a part of the old version of college football, which is now dead. So
Yep.
that is just very disappointing. But I truly believe that the bowl season in and of itself is completely wash, and we need to restructure. Now, getting into a handful of bowls that I do think were somewhat noteworthy. Georgia Tech BYU and the Pop Tart Bowl. I did like that only because those two teams throughout the duration of the year were noteworthy at one point. So that was a fun game to watch. I did see that Virginia beat Missouri. Missouri, I don't know what happened to you. We thought you were this team that you at some point were going to make this big splash. You end up, I mean, Virginia's no slouch, but you end up losing that football game. Shout out to Houston. Houston beats you or LSU. I know that doesn't seem like much, but good on the Cougars for finishing in the top 25. Like LSU, like yikes, and just truly embarrassing. And then this is more so a pride factor for me. Illinois beats Tennessee. Tennessee, where are you? Well, are you even a program anymore? Like, I don't know if I want to even give them any leverage in the SEC from this point forward. So that just tells me I think that the Big Ten is here to stay as the power conference moving forward. And then lastly, just a couple of other games before we get to the bigger ones. Iowa Vanderbilt, I'm bringing that up for obvious reasons. I hope that's a good game tomorrow. Michigan, Texas, we'll see what all transpires there. If Texas is such a whiny baby, I'm not giving in. They should beat Michigan by 40 points. So we'll see what happens in that. And then I got to bring this up because I think it's relevant. This will be our transition call into the games that we're going to talk about a little bit before we conclude. The first round here. So Oklahoma, I'd like to just talk about this for a second
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
this was on my mind a lot. I don't know if I've ever witnessed a team at home just completely fumble their entire season. Like there were so many opportunities that they had, even towards the end of the game, when their historically incredible kicker missed like a 30-yard field goal. Like you can't make this shit up. And I just feel like for how much of a tough schedule and how much you earn to get to the playoff, to lose to Alabama at home and one of the most horrendous performances of your year is just truly, truly upsetting. And then I'm going to say one more, and then I'll turn it over to you if you have any other general comments.
Yeah.
Um, Texas A&M, smoke and mirrors. I'm so sorry, but you are totally smoke and mirrors. Every one of the harder games that you had on your schedule, it came with a loss. And I'm not even crediting you with the win against Notre Dame because I think they're trash as well. So good luck rebuilding. But you, another team that had a perfect chance at the end of the game, completely peed it down your leg at home. I mean, I think it's embarrassing for these programs. I really, really do. And then this will be the last year of the Power Six teams getting in. We cannot see another round of Tulane and James Madison. Kudos to them for trying, but they just got absolutely torched, and there's just no business for them being in. So that will be my final comments before we transition to just kind of our excitement for some of these next big games coming up. But if you want to throw anything out, Cole, it is obviously your prerogative to do so.
Well, the Alabama Oklahoma game, that was tied for the most points Oklahoma gave up all year. They gave up 34 points to Ole Miss as well when Ole Miss came to Norman, Oklahoma. So if that tells you anything, and I feel like I'm patting myself on the back again here, like I've done a few times in this podcast this season. Um, Oklahoma could only go as far as their defense would take them.
Right.
And that proved to be extremely true. I mean, they put up 24 points. Like the offense sort of found footing, but it's like too little, too late. And you really needed that defense to be the kind of defense that holds teams to 6 points, 13 points, like like they had been weeks before playing SEC opponents, in conference opponents. So uh, yeah, that game was shocking from the standpoint that it was just that Oklahoma didn't put up the Oklahoma defense didn't put up more of a fight, but kudos to Alabama. Like that was sort of Alabama's play-in game. Like I talked about the play-in game
Sure.
for Notre Dame, and it's like Alabama actually looked pretty good. Like Ty Simpson looked pretty solid against the really good Oklahoma defense. So, okay, like, hey, you earned your stripes. You deserve to be here. Like, good on you. Now let's see how far it can go and how far the momentum carries you, especially being that there's such a long gap in between games. Yeah, other than that, we do got to rethink the college football playoff system once again, because it's still a flawed system, and that's really like, to me, Nick, that's what we're experiencing here. And like, I get that you've got a lot of different disappointments from this season in college football, um, but we're trying to reestablish what college football is.
True.
And instead of slow rolling all of these things out, it's like let's just do it all at once. And so it's like
So true.
like, instead of saying, okay, this year we're gonna implement a playoff structure, and then next year, like, we're gonna readjust how we do the seating, and oh, we need to readjust how we do the seating again, and oh, then we need to readjust where the games are actually played. um and then let's introduce NIL to paying players a little bit. And then let's adjust how much these guys get paid. And then let's establish, who gets paid what and how that all works. Like, it's just been, let's all do this now. And like,
Right.
we want it now. We want it all now, and that's obviously a societal problem and a larger discussion that's not for a college football podcast. Um but like, we're sort of reestablishing what college football is going to look like, because there will come another golden age of college football.
Right.
Just as you talk about, like, we grew up with the golden age of the Tim Tebows and the Johnny Money Manziel, and all of like the crazy Alabama teams that we watch play that were just loaded with talent that we see now in today's NFL game, that were all coached by like Nick Saban, who is this like mystical figure now in college football that we only see behind a desk every Saturday morning. Uh, it's like the pendulum is swung, but it's more so we're building a new foundation for this big, beautiful house that is going to be new, shiny college football, where guys are getting paid. There's a playoff structure. There's lots of money that's involved, and games are becoming more meaningful. Like, if anything, we're slow rolling fixing the bowl season, which in my opinion is what needs the quickest fix and should be the easiest fix, because those are actual games that are on TV that people could be watching, and schools and companies that sponsor these games, and the schools that play in them, especially the student athletes that play in them. Like, there's a lot of big money to be made in these bowl games, but we're just
Right.
like, we're letting it be, quarter full venues where no one's watching, Washington State, Utah State, or Memphis, NC State in the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Like, you know, We're more worried about fixing the NIL thing, which involves a lot of antitrust laws and potential lawsuits and thousands of players who are getting paid already. Uh, yeah, so uh, there will come a new golden age, I guess, is my ending sentiment. But just bear with, like, if I'm speaking on behalf of college football as a whole, just bear with us. We're gonna get it all
Okay.
right. Just like, hey, yeah, this year was a little different and weird, and we're sorry about that. But just bear with us. Like, a few years from now, you're gonna like what you see.
I think that's a wonderful way to end it off because truthfully, they did just kind of roll everything out way too fast. And I will stick to my guns in saying this, and this is off of a brilliant thing that you brought up, I think 3 weeks ago. Take all the bowl games that you have, and I say you cut off maybe, a quarter of them, right? Because you want to increase standard and value to these bowl games. You can't let everybody get a bowl game. That's just not how you're going to drive viewership. But then I think you take those bowl games that you deem noteworthy and you spread them out between this playoff and that NIT tournament style that you had. And then, and from maybe, let's say, the quarterfinals in, all of those games are listed as these tiered bowl games that we have. I think that would be the coolest way to really kind of combine best of both worlds. That way, you have the seeding involved, you have the championship game shit involved, you have all these teams to get an opportunity to do what they need to do. And so then that way you can merge a little bit. So I agree though. I need to be patient. I like to shit on it a little bit just because it annoys me when people are entitled. But at the same token, this is so much better than what we have had in the past. So I will digress. Now just to have a little bit of fun here. I don't want a score from you. I just want a take that is either what you firmly believe in or what you're most excited about for these respective games, because as much as we've gone through the ringer of the season, the excitement, the journey that is college football, we're looking at 4 games here against 4 opponents that are such fun matchups to be able to go again. So we're going to go in chronological order here. And what do you got just as a takeaway or a thought process for the U versus the O?
Uh, Fast. I think both teams are fast. I'm gonna really enjoy watching speed.
Oof, great, great take. Um, For me, this one is strictly on Ohio State's ability to respond to adversity. We've seen it in the past. Do they go out similarly to what they did to Tennessee last year after a disappointing loss against Michigan and just swack these guys? In addition to that, Miami, you got a great opportunity. Cole said it last week. You're the best of the best when you're on your best, but you're goddamn at the worst when you're on your worst. So, best of luck against that
You
defense.
know what? I'm gonna change my answer really quick. I'm gonna change it to defensive talent because
Ooh,
Ruben Bain Jr. plays DN for Miami. He's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick at worst in the NFL draft. Ohio State has like 2 or 3 players that could be top 5 picks in the NFL draft come this spring. So I'm going to say defense. I'm going to rephrase my answer to be defensive talent.
sure. That's a great one. And I do like speed too. Like that's obviously very applicable here as well. Just a lot of
Yeah.
great athletes in this game. Now, of all the games that I'm most excited for is this next one. Starting off the New Year's Day, Oregon versus Texas Tech. Before I turn it over to you, it was noted that Mr. Dan Lanning himself believed that this game should have been hosted at Texas Tech, and I couldn't agree more with him. And I just love that he has respect for the game. Go ahead, Cole. What is your one take here?
This is going to be the game where I say like just the opposite. And there's still good defensive players across the board for both these teams, but like high octane offenses.
Whew.
It's and it is gonna be we're gonna be hot and heavy early with these two teams.
Yeah. I want this to be like the classic SEC duels where it's like 35-42, or
Oh
like a
yeah.
Joe Burrow against Clemson, like a 50 to like 40 game. Like I just want to see just no defense at all here. I just want to see an
I want
absolute shootout.
I want this game to be like the Notre Dame Texas A&M game was, where it's like back and forth, like both teams are in the 40s, and it goes down to the last possession, who has the ball last.
Yes, I love that so much. I had picked Oregon to win it all. I know that's potentially a terrible choice depending on the outcome of the game, but I am so excited for this football game, and I'm happy for either team that wins. Obviously, my Big Ten bias wants to lean in on that, but that will be so much fun. After that, I don't know how one is just then prepared to watch this next game. However, I'm very curious to see what the outcome is here. Number 9, Alabama against the number 1 team in the nation. What is your one take at 3 p.m.?
This is going to be the instant classic.
Mm,
This game. This is the game that's going to be the instant classic. I'll tell you why. It's at the Rose Bowl. It's at the
yeah,
granddaddy of them all. It's the Rose Bowl. It's the only game that we really still call by its own like bowl game name, right?
right.
They're all a part of the college football playoff, but like there's the Capital One Orange Bowl. There's the All State Sugar Bowl. There's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. This is just the fucking Rose Bowl, baby.
The
I
Rose
mean, it's
Bowl.
like it's sponsored by Prudential, so it's technically like the Rose Bowl presented by Prudential, but it's the fucking Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
The granddaddy of them all. You have like I can picture it every single year where it's like the shot from straight over top of the 50-yard line, and it's like the split colors. This year, you're not going to get that. It's all crimson and white with Alabama and
right.
Indiana. So it's just going to be a sea of crimson and white at at the Rose Bowl, dude. It's gonna look like rose petals just scattered around the stand, scattered around
yeah.
the outside of the Rose Bowl. Uh, it's gonna be so sick. And this is the game that if both teams come out and play, like come out to play, like this could be the all-time classic game. If Alabama sustains the momentum they had in that Oklahoma game, and Indiana plays the way that they've played all year long with a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, this could be the instant classic.
Oh my god. It's so fun. Um I see this game going both ways for each said team. First off, Bama, if you have just enough momentum to punch them in the mouth early and you just went up against a really good defense in Oklahoma, like you're in the game. And if you win this game, I will shut the fuck up because I've been talking a lot of shit about Alabama in the playoff. I think that if you win this game, I'll shut the fuck up. I don't care if you lose the next one. Like, kudos to you. Indiana, though, I think when you beat a team like Ohio State, the touted number 1, I like just there's so much energy in that as a player. I think that their swagger couldn't be at an all-time high. And I think that that defense from Indiana, I understand Oklahoma has a great defense. Don't get me wrong, but you held Ohio State to 10 points. Like
Mhm.
that is insane, dude. So as long as they're not injury ridden, I got the buzzsaw of Indiana being just a little bit too much. But I also will say, as my final piece here, I think that we should not have the national championship title. I think the Rose Bowl should be the national championship. I think they need to bring those two together to just
Mm.
say, hey, this is the final game. Because to your point, Cole, the Rose Bowl has been the only bowl that has stood the test of time. And it's always in beautiful California, right? So it's like, why not just end there? Why not just fucking end, not in a stadium, or excuse me, a dome? Why don't we end this thing at outside at the Rose
I
Bowl?
couldn't disagree more. I
Really?
couldn't disagree more.
We
I
have
couldn't
some
disagree
some
more.
late in the season debates. I love it. Okay, and then last but not least, the Sugar Bowl, the good old SEC rivalry. What do we have here as far as just your one take in this game?
Blowout. If you're betting the game, bet Georgia. They're gonna blow the fucking doors off of Ole Miss. This one's gonna be a blowout. Last game of the night. It's a 6 p.m. start for me, which means it's a 7 p.m. start for you on ESPN. This one is gonna be a blowout. Everybody will get to bed nice and early.
I actually am on the same thread there. You're just not going to Ole Miss is just not going to show up against Georgia. Too many things going against them, and Georgia just overcome Alabama in the SEC championship. They're going to be ready to go. But I just wanted to do this one more time too. So you had remind me again, who is your team? You had Georgia winning the national championship, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I had Oregon. We'll watch how it plays out. Super, super stoked for this. But as we started, this will be the same as we end. Mr. Stasinski, this has been such a fun season one. This doesn't mean that we'll never talk again. It's just that what brings us together is this beautiful sport of college football. And I'm already like foreseeing that first week next year, knowing we've completed this first year, this first season. And I just cannot wait for the amount of notes, the amount of takeaways, and all of that to kick things off. So from us to you as the fans and the listeners, we know you're few and far between, but we love you so much for sticking with us. And you got two guys that are just great friends and also just incredible advocates of this sport that we love, and that is college football. So without further ado, we will send you off to the conclusion of season one on the Life on the 50.